Imagine a hidden world within you, teeming with life, influencing your every thought, emotion, and even your physical well-being. This is not a science fiction. It's a reality of your gut microbiome. Today, we will delve into the fascinating world of the microbiome gut-brain axis, exploring how this intricate network of microbiomes shapes our mental health, fuels our craving, and even contributes to the development of autoimmune diseases. So, prepare to be amazed as we are revealed the profound impact of these teeny organisms on your overall health and well-being. Hello everyone at the International Conference on Frontier Research on Life Science, University of Madras, India. I'm Hanem Khater. I'm a professor of parasitology at Banha University, Egypt, and a member of the Conference International Advisory Board. With my colleague, Dr. Rida Al-Badawi, professor of hepatology, gastroenterology, and infectious diseases, and the director of Center of Excellence for studying the role of microbiome in fatty liver and pancreas and heart diseases at Banha University also. Today, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, the role of gut microbiome in anxiety, depression, food craving, and autoimmune diseases. How many brains do you have, and who's pulling your strength? Actually, we have three brains. The head brain is the seat of logic and intellect, but the unconscious mind controls around 90% of your behaviors. The second brain is your heart. There are more neural pathways running from your heart to the head brain, more than from the head brain to your heart. Guess what? The third brain is your gut. Your gut controls your physical and mental health, and 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. Scientists have found that human being is a superorganism carrying billions of microorganisms like bacteria, archaea, fungi, viruses, and protozoa, almost 10 times the total number of human cells, inhabiting the skin, plus digestive, respiratory, urinary, and reproductive tracts. The genes encoded therein surpass 5 million, which is more than 200 times the number of human genes. Since 28, nature has advocated calling human being we rather than I, because more than 90% of the total cells and genes of the superorganism are microorganisms. The human gut is the home of trillions of microorganisms, collectively known as gut microbiota, which consists of diverse array of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and other microbes that interact with the host physiology in numerous ways. In fact, your gut microbiome is very unique for you. Infants inherit their first gut microbiome during vaginal delivery or breastfeeding. Later, your diet or other environmental exposures introduce new microbes to your biome. Some of these exposures can be harmful and diminish your gut microbiota. So, it's a matter of balance. So far, we know what you know by microbiota. What about microbiome? The term microbiome refers to the collective genome of the microorganisms in a given environment, meaning the collection of all the genetic materials, DNA and RNA. Now, are you ready to hear a secret? Your gut and your brain are friends. Yes, exactly as you heard. They are friends working in a harmonious team. Okay, what kind of messages they send to each other? Actually, there is a bidirectional communication between your gut microbiota and your central nervous system, known as the gut-brain axis. They communicate through the production of neurotransmitters, immune system modulation, and metabolic pathways. You know what? Life doesn't always go the way we want it. Miscommunication could happen. Exactly similar to what happened between us. Your gut yells and screams into your face, and you have to decode these messages. I didn't get it. What do you really mean? And what are the consequences? When this communication system malfunctions, it gives you these kind of messages. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, with its abdominal pain, bloating, and altered bowel habits. Other conditions like obesity, autoimmune diseases, and metabolic disorders, in addition to neurological disorders like Parkinson's disease and multiple sclerosis. And finally, mental health disorders like anxiety and depression. Anxiety and stress disorders have become increasingly prevalent in the modern society, affecting individuals of all ages and backgrounds, affecting up to 34% of the population, with incidence in females twice as high as in males. The global burden of the disease study showed a 47% increase in the incidence of anxiety disorders just from 1990 to 2019. Such increase reached 26% following the COVID-19 pandemic. Anxiety disorders are a broad group of disorders that include stress, panic, obsession, and compulsion. Excessive anxiety can coexist with other psychiatric or somatic disorders, impairing daily functioning and reducing the quality of life. Both pharmacological interventions and cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT) are of limited effect. While the exact etiology of anxiety remains complex and multifactorial, the gut microbiota could play a crucial role in their development and progression. Do you know that the commensal gut microbiota, amounting to more than 1 kilogram, playing a vital role in various bodily functions like digestive and immune system regulations, as well as cognitive and mental health? Wait a minute, do you really mean it? How could these friendly microbes do all of that? First, how could they maintain a healthy intestinal environment? In fact, your friendly microbes help in the followings: digestion of resistant carbohydrates, decomposition of endogenous and exogenous proteins, degradation of bile acid, and synthesis of essential vitamins and bioactive compounds. Your friendly microbes also help you by affecting your body process nutrients and store fats, influencing your metabolism, weight control, and the risk conditions like obesity and type 2 diabetes, regulating the maturation and function not only of your immune and endocrine system, but also your brain and mind. Therefore, they improve your memory, learning ability, and mental health. I told you they are friendly. Okay, I see. But how could gut microbiota help my immune system? In fact, they influence the ability to fight infections and defend against diseases. Yes, but how? Some microorganisms in your gut are involved in the breakdown of complex carbohydrates and fibers, which the human body cannot digest on its own, resulting in the production of short-chain fatty acids and other metabolites, acting as a source of energy and protection of the gut lining. Moreover, your friendly microbes teach your immune system to differentiate between harmful pathogens and beneficial microorganisms. They compete for resources, produce antimicrobial compounds, and maintain an environment which is inhospitable to potential invaders. Did you see how this bustling community within your own gut, teeming with trillions of microorganisms working together to maintain your well-being? In reality, interactions of these niches may be pathogenic, commensalism, or mutualistic. Bacteria constitute approximately 99% of the gut microbiome, and 90% of the intestinal flora of adults are dominated by Firmicutes and Bacteroidetes. Other phyla, such as Actinobacteria, Verrucomicrobia, are also identified. The balance and diversity of these microbes are crucial for overall health. Distribution of gut microbiome could potentially contribute to various health and mental issues, highlighting the significance of maintaining a healthy gut microbiota through balanced nutrition and smart lifestyle choices. Modernization has been changing your gut microbiota by various means, including diet, lifestyle, food processing, and medication. In terms of dietary habits, the number of times people eat at home has reduced significantly, whereas the number of times people eat out and eat snacks has increased rapidly. Even short-term dietary changes alter them. Consumption of refined carbohydrates, meat, fat, sugar, salt has increased rapidly, whereas the intake of dietary fibers has decreased sharply. Moreover, high-fat diets and refined carbohydrate diets are bothering your gut microbiota. Microbiota-accessible carbohydrates, or MAC, are carbohydrates that are resistant to digestion by host metabolism and are made available for gut microbiomes as prebiotics to ferment or metabolize into beneficial compounds such as short-chain fatty acids. MACs may come from plants, fungi, animal tissues, or food-borne microbes and must be metabolized by the microbiome. They are the main source of energy for gut bacteria and they are essential to maintain human health. The long-term low MAC diet has been found to lead to microbiota extension, presenting intergenerational effect. Worldwide, the proportion of fresh food and traditional fermented food has decreased significantly, whereas the proportion of processed food has increased rapidly. Chemicals greatly disrupt the gut microbiota, induce inflammation and metabolic diseases. And here are some examples of such chemicals: food additives, pesticides, drug residues, antiseptics like potassium sorbate and sodium benzoate, emulsifier like hydroxymethyl cellulose and polysorbate, artificial sweeteners like saccharin, aspartame, sucralose, which alter the gut microbiota, inducing glucose intolerance. Are you ready to explore the fascinating connection between the gut microbiome and brain health, and their effect on the cognitive function, mood regulation, and even the risk for developing neurological disorders? So let's embark on the journey of discovery and unlock the secret of healthy gut for a thriving brain. Undeniably, the gut and the brain are in constant communication through bidirectional pathway known as the gut-brain axis, allowing the exchange of information and signals between the two organs, influencing various aspects of your health. Intestinal permeability, the condition of the intestine when its lining becomes damaged and the gap appears between cells. These gaps allow large particles and toxins to pass through the intestinal wall and escape to the body. Because these foreign objects are not supposed to be in the blood, they trigger inflammation, which set up inflammation in different parts of the body in a cascade of symptoms such as headache, fatigue, brain fog, food sensitivity, bloating, cramp, and much more. If you've ever gone with your gut to make a decision or felt butterflies in your stomach when nervous, you're likely getting signals from unexpected source. The enteric nervous system, or often called the second brain. Hidden in the walls of the digestive system, it consists of two thin layers of more than 100 million nerve cells, lining your gastrointestinal tract from esophagus to rectum. This brain helps in understanding the link between digestion, mood, health, and even the way you think. It can operate independently to control digestion and communicate with your central nervous system. Studies have found a link between gut health, memory, attention, and even mental clarity. The gut microbiome communicates with the brain through various pathways, including nervous system, immune system, and hormonal signaling, which could significantly impact your mood, cognition, and behavior. Gut microbiomes play a vital role in synthesis of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, crucial for regulating your mood and emotions. They also influence inflammation, which can impact mental health conditions such as anxiety and depression. Therefore, a balanced gut microbiome fosters your physical and mental health. The entire interplay between microbiota and its metabolite and function on the brain is called the brain-gut microbiome axis. This axis is mediated by gut, the vagus nerve, and the immune system. A prolonged lack of relaxation induced by stress can disrupt the functioning of the digestive and immune system or the functioning of the brain and autonomic nervous system. Stress also affects the human gut microbiota and promotes disorders in the composition of microbiota. The role of hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis in regulating the body's response to stress is crucial in understanding the relationship between microbiota and anxiety stress disorders. Chronic stress can have detrimental effect on integrity of the intestinal barriers. This could lead to changes in the functioning of the HEPA axis triggered by the release of cytokines and chemokines by the gut bacteria. Dysbiosis of gut microbiota, characterized by an imbalance in microbial composition and diversity, has been associated with increased vulnerability to anxiety and stress disorders. Alteration in the gut microbiota can lead to changes in the production and release of neurotransmitters like serotonin and gamma aminobutyric acid, which are crucial in regulating mood and anxiety. The gut microbiota play a vital role in the metabolism of neuroactive compounds and the synthesis of various neuroactive substances like short-chain fatty acids, which have been implicated in modulating the brain function and behavior. Chronic stress induces many adverse changes in the GIT, like development of colitis, an increase in interleukin-6, a decrease in interleukin-10, damage to the intestinal mucosa, and dysbiosis. Actually, dysregulated immune response, such as increase in production of the pro-inflammatory cytokines, can contribute to chronic low-grade inflammation, which has been linked to the pathogenesis of anxiety and stress-related conditions. Microbiome changes in chronic stress include increase in Helicobacter, Streptococcus, Enterococcus faecalis, and reduction of Rosebaria and Lanciospiraceae. Here also you found the suggested probiotic strains for treating stress like Lactobacillus, Lactobacillus, Lactobacillus gracie. Moreover, separation from the mother leads to defect in Banacella intestinal dysbiosis, associated with E. coli among others, which lead to the development of visceral hypersensitivity. Abnormalities of the HEPA axis in separation and anxiety are indicated, which may also involve in the development of intestinal barrier dysfunction and exaggerated stress response. Appropriate probiotic therapy can benefit people with this syndrome, as you will see in the next slide. Appropriate adequate education of people with the stress-related disorder is particularly important, as the stress is an important predictor of eating behavior. It may activate the relevant reward or pleasure center signaling pathway in the brain, which in turn may be associated with increased consumption of unhealthy snacks at the expense of the adequate intake of fruits and vegetables. Given the importance of an adequate diet for mental health, the care for both a psychologist and nutritionist may be highly beneficial. Wait a minute, I didn't get it. How my stress affects my eating behavior. Diet and anxiety feed each other in a vicious cycle. Processed food increase anxiety through multiple gut microbiome-mediated mechanisms with individual-specific effects dependent on stable features of one's microbiome. In turn, anxiety and stress trigger emotional eating, perpetuating the intake of comfort food as in cafeteria diet or the Western-like diet. Comfort food then act on the brain as an immediate reward while affecting impulse control and positively reinforcing the cycle. Depressive disorders are characterized by neuroplastic organizational changes and neurochemical dysfunction. Illness is thought to begin when there is a dysregulation of these systems, which could be largely attributed to cytokine release, secondary to exaggerated systemic response to stressors. There is a direct correlation between increased level of interleukin 6 and TNF-A with the symptoms of depression and anxiety, indicating that the pro-inflammatory cytokines play a role in the development of anxiety and depression. These effects correlate with the state of chronic inflammation and altered immune cells in the peripheral blood. A catastrophic neurodevelopmental disorder, schizophrenia, presents with impaired cognitive function, reduced motivation, social disengagement, difficulty speaking, in addition to adult-onset psychiatric symptoms like delusions and hallucinations that eventually interfere with individuals' livelihood. Dysbiosis of the gut microbiota is a key component in the pathophysiology of schizophrenia. In fact, gut microbial colonization occurs at the time of birth during exposure to vaginal microbiota or the surrounding environment. Since then, the gut microbiome has immediately contributed to the developmental and physiological process of the brain. Healthy individual. Development of blood-brain barrier and microglia, myelination and neurogenesis all have been controlled by gut microbiota. However, dietary habit, infections, method of delivery during birth, host genetics, infant feeding, and early antibiotic treatment, all of them induce dysbiosis of the gut microbiota. Thus, it could potentially affect such a developmental process, providing the root for disruption of blood-brain barrier and neuroinflammation, ultimately linked with the development of schizophrenia. Recent studies explore the influence of gut microbiota to disrupt different immunological and metabolic pathways. Oh no, there is a relation between microbiome and autistic spectrum disorder, ASD? Yes, Candida albicans prevents the absorption of carbohydrates and minerals and allow excessive buildup of toxins, which increase autistic behaviors in children with ASD. Another study suggested that the interaction between propionic acid and ammonia released by Candida albicans resulted in increased autistic behaviors. This interaction produces an excessive amount of beta-alanine, which is similar in structure to GABA and an important contributor to ASD. Inflammation of the GIT tract places stress on the microbiome through the release of cytokines and neurotransmitters. Coupled with the increase of intestinal permeability, these molecules then travel systemically. Elevated blood levels of cytokine, TNF-A, and MCP, monocyte chemoattractant protein, increase the permeability of the blood-brain barrier, enhancing the effect of Roche molecules from the permeable gut. The release influences the brain function, leading to anxiety, depression, and memory loss. Practical tips for improving gut health. Embrace fiber-rich diet. Fiber is the fuel of your gut bacteria, like fruit, vegetables, whole grain. Legumes in your diet also provide the necessary fiber to support the diverse gut microbiome. Fermented foods, like probiotic in the form of fermented food, can introduce beneficial bacteria into your gut. Fermented food like yogurt, kefir, kombucha, pickles, all of these. Include a prebiotic. Prebiotic are non-digestible fibers that act as nourishment for the beneficial bacteria in your gut. Food like onion, garlic, whole grain are rich in prebiotic and could help promote your gut health. Manage stress level. Chronic stress could disrupt the balance of your gut microbiome. So engage stress-reducing activities like meditation, yoga, spending time in nature to support healthier gut and calmer mind. Get quality of sleep is essential for well-being for your gut and your brain. So aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night to give your body and mind the rest they need to function optimally. And finally, stay active. Physical activity benefits your overall health and support thriving gut microbiome. So engage in activities you enjoy, like walking, dancing, gardening, to keep your gut bacteria happy and active. Finally, to round up, the gut microbiome plays a crucial role in brain health and overall well-being. By understanding and nourishing our gut microbiome through a balanced diet, stress management, and healthy lifestyle choices, we can support and flourish the gut environment that positively impact cognitive function and mood regulation and reduce the risk of neurological disorders. So, let's embark on this journey of the gut harmony and make choices that promote healthy gut for a sharper mind and happier life. Finally, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you ever have the chance, please come and experience the wonders of Egypt for yourself. You will be warmly welcomed. It's a truly unforgettable place. You will be amazed by its history, culture, and beauty. Goodbye. See you in Egypt. Now, I'm gonna give the talk to Dr. Rida El Badawi. She will talk about how to put these ideas of microbiome into practice. She also gonna talk about the Center of Excellence for Studying Microbiome and its relation to fatty liver and fatty pancreas.